All right, so let's kick it off. Thank you so much for joining the call today. We want to get you into your first home sooner. And today we'll be joined by Mokshi Virk. She is a real estate broker. She is a community builder, entrepreneur, and advocate for inclusiveness. And why we have this session is to make sure that everyone can access that dream of home ownership. So, Makashi, take it away.
Thank you, my dear. Thank you so much. All right, then. I would like to start with welcoming everyone. And so, for many Canadians, buying a first home can feel like an impossible goal. While it's currently more of a buyer's market, with housing prices softening and interest rates also beginning to stabilize, many prospective buyers are still unsure whether they are truly ready to take the first step. One of the biggest misconceptions that we hear is that you need to wait. Wait until everything is perfect before entering the market. The reality is that with the right plan, the right information, and right team around you, home ownership may be closer than you think. Today, we will walk you through what it takes to prepare yourself for the first home purchase, the program, the strategies available to the first time buyers, and how to position yourself to take advantage of opportunities in today's market. We are
Mhm.
excited to share practical insights, answer any questions, and help you create a roadmap towards the home ownership. Let's get started. So, our first and as Cardeen is my partner here, so today we will be sharing about what really it means starting or taking the first step. So the first thing is understanding your budget. As we all know, exactly knowing what your budget, how much you can afford, including mortgage, taxes, insurance, and maintenance, it's going to be a helpful thing when you start. So a clear budget really sets a realistic expectation from day one. So I usually like to always talk to my clients when we sit on first meeting that how much they are paying as a rent. I'm just giving some examples so that it's easier for you to understand what do we mean by affordability. So the first thing is that if you are renting at this time, you're new here, you're renting at this time, and probably you're paying between say $1,200 to $1,500 a month towards your rental. So when you think about it on a long term, you are almost paying every year more than 12 to 15,000, which is actually not even a penny coming back to you because you are actually paying someone else's mortgage. Because when you're renting, you're helping supporting their mortgage, not yours. Because when you walk out of that house, when you move out, you're not even getting a penny back. So
Yeah, somebody posted in the chat that 2,500 is what rent is, right?
exactly. So I'm just talking about the minimum, bare minimum, which we can start with one bedroom for 12 to 15. And if you are looking for a family rental, it's usually around 2000 plus. As you mentioned, it's 2,500. So you're already paying that money, but nothing is going to come back because that is just helping supporting others' mortgage, not yours. So my first advice is that when you are starting out and you're looking to think about home ownership, first thing is that obviously you think about it that whatever you're paying as a monthly rental will actually be when you're buying your home will actually be coming back to you in a way that when we start paying our mortgage, the part of it, the mortgage amount, the part of it is principal and the part of it is the interest. So the interest definitely goes to the bank because they're loaning you money, but the principal comes back to you. So
Mhm.
a part of that amount that you're paying on monthly basis, at least a part of it's coming back to you. But in rental, it's not there. So moving on, when we talk about the home ownership, as we started with the first step as understanding your budget, the second would be reviewing your credit. So when what do you mean by credit? In Canada, whenever we are looking to get a loans, the banks they go back to a credit report, and that is usually there are two credit reporting companies. One is Equifax, and the other one is TransUnion. So both these companies, they provide credit report, and different lenders or banks use either of these credit reporting companies. So how do you really maintain a good credit score is that when you come to Canada, first thing is that at least open two bank accounts, not just one, at least have two bank accounts. Number two, get a credit card. Either the bank, most of the banks usually are aggressively supporting newcomers, so they offer you a credit card when you open an account. Otherwise, you can ask for a credit card and you have at least two credit cards, and then start using those credit cards. Just don't take the card and then just keep it. Use it, because we have people coming to Canada from around the world. So some people have those credit cards in their own country as well, and they've used it prior to coming here. But there are some people who have not used it. So I always suggest that start building your credit when you are here. So use the credit, never go over 50-60%. Don't use the entire credit limit. If your limit is like $1,000, don't use the entire $1,000 in a month. Try, even if you're using it, try using it up to 50%. So that helps maintain a good credit. And then try to pay it back within the month's time. Like usually your statement comes within 25 days. So try to make the payment, at least minimum payment, or just clear it out. You don't want to actually keep the credit card for a long time, because obviously you'll be paying 18-20% interest on those credit cards. So it's
Mhm.
just a way of building your credit, but try to keep yourself, your expenses within your means. I mean, it's always a good idea that if you want to keep it uh, try to use the credit just to maintain the credit, not just for your day-to-day expenses. That's what I always advise. So
Yes.
go ahead. Yes, Cardeen, you
Yeah,
want
I
to
know
add?
you mentioned 50% utilization, but even better, if you can manage to keep it at or below 30%, that helps to ensure that your credit score stays high. So it's about maintaining your credit, low utilizations, and regular payments.
Yes. I agree with you, Cardeen. So here I am on this slide, we will be talking about the 5 steps you can take towards your first home purchase. And these are actually the essential steps. That's what I can suggest you. So the first one, as we talked about, is you access your finances. So what do we mean by that? When you're buying a home, you have option of putting 5% to 20% as a down payment. There are some messages. So, Kadeen, are you looking at on the
Yes, I'm
chat?
looking at the messages.
Okay,
Mhm.
sounds good. All right then. Yeah. So, when we're talking about finance, so we want to see that you have some down payment saved towards your first home purchase, and the second is that you have enough income to support that. So even if you were renting, your landlord must have asked you for your pay stubs and your income before even giving you the lease or the rental. So that's the same thing when we are moving towards home buying. So we want to make sure that we have enough income to support the home buying process. So that would be your income, your spouse income, or any other income source that you have. So that is the first thing that we need to know, that how we're going to be covering our monthly expenses. And then obviously we need some deposit or a down payment towards the home purchase. There are some programs where basically government is also supporting home buying process. So in that way, they are giving you some of the benefits which Cardeen will be discussing in more detail about first-time home buyers incentives. And the second thing is that when we are going for the house, I always advise that we should actually be doing the pre-approval from the bank or the lenders first, because then we have an idea that how much we qualify for with our down payment and our income. So that's the first thing I would advise when we are discussing about finance, that we should get a pre-approval. A pre-approval will actually be approval where you will be actually bringing your documents together, which would be your T4s or your NOA, notice of assessments, down payment. So maybe a bank statement where you have some down payment saved, you bring that. So when you bring all those paperwork together, the bank or the mortgage specialist will be able to actually guide you that this is the range that you can go for, and that helps us to really narrow down or decide that the type of home that we will be considering within our budget. So the next is we have to define our needs and wants. You know what, when we come to Canada, when you come to this place, you're looking for rental, you're trying to get into the home which is reasonable within your budget. As we discussed, if it is one bedroom, could be 1,000 to 1,500. If it is two bedrooms, 2,000 to 2,500. So that is what you basically considering the needs, not the wants in the beginning, because you want to be closer to, maybe if you have a job, you want to be closer to your job or the transit or the GO station or something which can help you go to your work. Or you could, if you have children, you're looking for a place where the school is walking distance, or a good school, or plazas nearby, parks nearby, a community center nearby. So these are some of the considerations that you look for even when you're renting, more so when you're looking to buy, because those are some of the needs, because you want to be uh, one is affordable, second is approachable. I mean, you should be able to go to your work, take care of your family needs. That is a priority. Wants come later, whether it's like in wants, we can just say that, oh, I wanted like a two double car garage, or three washrooms, or four washrooms, or a rec room. These would be more of wants. But when you're looking for a first time home buying, my always suggestion would be something that which can help you access your work, your children's area of interest, whether it's a community center, school, parks. So these are the things which we consider as needs. Maybe a two or three bedroom, whatever is your family's requirement. So when we start searching, we zero down or narrow down our search to your basic needs, basic requirements, because that's what my role comes in as a realtor. I'm a real estate broker for over 18 years now, and I have worked with a lot of people who are first-time home buyers. I've worked with people who are either downsizing or upsizing. They're looking, sometimes the family needs a bigger home. So we take them step by step towards the home ownership requirements as they need. So when I'm working with first time home buyers, we try to, as I mentioned about the needs, we try to zero down our search to all those things. I'm sorry. So so we try to zero down our search to the basic needs that the family has. So that's
Mhm.
my role. And as we discussed prior to this, that we usually get a pre-approval also done. So we know exactly what is our budget, how much we can go for, and then we can narrow down our search to that location and your needs. Then once we start discussing about the property that we have searched for you, then this my role is to book appointments and take you around and show you the properties as per your needs. So once that is taken care of, and if you like some property, then our process starts with the offer. So we make an offer for you, and the offer contains a lot of things because it's a legal commitment. Once you present or give an offer to any seller, any property that we are going to buy. So it's a legal obligation once we make an offer. So for the offer, we usually like to say, as I'm representing you, so there are two agents involved in the real estate transaction. One is the seller's agent, real estate agent, who will be representing the seller's side. And as a buyer's agent, I will be representing my client's side. So in that case, when we prepare an offer, we would need all your legal names, your IDs, because in Canada, it's very important that you provide us the ID, because as per the FinTrack also, that's another thing that Cardeen will also be sharing with you. So as per FinTrack, we need to have the legal people who will be buying the property, and the details about the deposit. And then in the offer, we will make sure that we take care of all the like appliances and window coverings and lights and all those things. The chattels there that we have seen in the property are also included, unless otherwise the seller has mentioned. And then we make sure that we take care of your conditions. So we usually like to have two or three conditions, because when we're presenting an offer, we should have a place where, if supposing you even if I suggest that we should have a pre-qualification, and then when we put an offer, we send the agreement to the bank for the final approval. So in that case, we should have that information that you're you are qualified for that property. So and we try to save our buyers time. For that time, we usually put in a condition that we give you 7 days to 10 days to get the mortgage approval before we make the deal firm. So the deposit that we have given usually is refundable in case you're not getting satisfactory mortgage. So that's one condition. Second condition we usually like to offer is the home inspection. That's another important thing because you don't know the home inside and out. If it is brand new from the builder, then there is warranties. Like usually there's a Tarian warranty that covers if there's any problem with the property. But when you're buying a resale home, usually get buy it as is. So we will usually suggest that we should get some professional home inspector come and check out the property, and they check out with their own equipment that they have. They check the plumbing, electricity, roof, everything. I mean, everything is checked, and then they give you a report where they tell you what is the status of all the things in the house, whether it's roof or it's plumbing or it's electrical, finance, everything. They give you a report, and that helps you make a decision if you want to go ahead with the offer and presentation, oh sorry, buying the home, or if there are some issues, we can take it up with the seller, and if they want to fix those issues, or if they are still selling it as is, then you have the opportunity to back out, because that's a conditional offer when we present it. So these are the two main things that we take care as a first time home buyer. We try to protect you as a buyer. And then
Okay.
moving on, we work with, as I said, we work with the team of professionals. So one, as I mentioned, was the mortgage broker or the lender, and second would be the home inspector, and then the third one would be the lawyer. So the lawyer will be actually closing the deal. So in Canada, a buyer and seller have their own lawyers, attorneys who will be closing the deal for them. So they will be actually registering the property to the buyer's name. So, and then another thing that is a part of the home buying is that you have to get a home insurance also. So that's another important part. So usually the lenders offer you a home insurance, but Cardeen will be discussing in more details about that. We usually suggest that you have your own life insurance instead of a home insurance from a bank, because bank is protecting itself, whereas when you get your own insurance, then you are protecting your family. So the home can be covered, as well as the family can make the decision if they want to pay out the bank, the mortgage, or they want to how they want to deal with the insurance payments if something happens. So
Okay.
it is very important that this is discussed and considered.
Yeah, and Mokshi mentioned multiple times throughout our presentation the deposit, right? And that I find can be one of the hurdles that first-time home buyers face when looking to own. So thank you, Mokshi, for sharing that bit and the process that clients need to go through. But the very first step is the finances. So let's take a look at what you can do to make sure that when you want to buy a home, you have that deposit so you can get that pre-approval in place, right, Mokshi? Because
Yes,
sorting out the money is very important. And
yes,
Mokshi mentioned that the market is different now. We're in a buyer's market. While home prices are no longer rising right now, right? We can potentially get into a home. It's a buyer's market. So let's
yes,
look at a scenario, for example, a home purchase price 650. Does that sound fair to you, Mokshi? 650?
yes, yes,
So 650 to purchase a home. The minimum down payment in a situation like this would be about $40,000. And of course, you'd have to consider your closing costs as well. So when you look at this number, it can be daunting, right? It could be that you're thinking it's going to take me oh so long to save that amount of money. But for many people, it's just about strategy, right? So let's look at a strategy that you can use going forward to achieve your goal of home ownership. Canada has two powerful tools designed specifically to help first-time buyers. The first is the First Home Savings Account, or FHSA, as some people shorten it, and the other is the RRSP Home Buyers Plan. Individually, these tools are powerful. Together, they can actually accelerate how quickly you get into your home and how quickly you build that down payment. So we're going to first talk about the first home savings account, then we'll move into the home buyers plan, and then we'll look at a strategy combining both. And we're also going to look at the long-term difference between renting and owning, because Mokshi did mention that too. Why buy, right? The cost of buying might be higher compared to renting. So why buy? So the first home savings account, this came into being in 2023. In many ways, it combines the best features of two of the other products that we already know and love. The RRSP, which gives you a tax deduction in the year of contribution, and the TFSA that allows you to withdraw money tax-free. The first home savings account kind of gives you both, which means it offers the buyers, potential buyers, a powerful advantage. So let's look at the numbers. Say you contribute $8,000 per year, which is the maximum that you can contribute to a first home savings account per year, up to a lifetime limit of $40,000. So over 5 years, you've built in that contribution. Your contributions are tax deductible, meaning they reduce your taxable income, plus the growth in that account also grows tax-free. And when you withdraw this money from your first home savings accounts to buy a home, guess what? You also get that money tax-free. So it goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, and you withdraw it tax-free. So it offers you like a triple win when it comes to make taxes. So that again is why it's so powerful. So who qualifies for a first home savings account? If you're 18 years old and over, you also must be a Canadian resident and you must be considered a first-time home buyers, which basically means that you or your partner have lived in a house that you own for at least 4 years. So once you meet these conditions, you can leverage the first home savings account. So again, I'm a numbers girl, so let's look at it, right? Say you have income say at $90,000 per year. You contribute $8,000 to your first home savings account. Because the contribution is tax deductible, it could actually trigger either a reduction in your taxes or a refund of approximately $2,400, depending on your marginal tax rate. So what do you do with that $2,400? So it reduces your cost, your actual cost of your first home savings contribution to basically $5,600. And a refund, guess what? You can reinvest it towards your down payment. So can you see already how this can accelerate your progress towards home ownership? I'm hoping that you are. And the second tool, the RRSP Home Buyers Plan. This has been a long time existing. The program allows first-time home buyers to withdraw money from their existing RRSPs to use towards a home purchase. The limit per person right now is $60,000 per person. So imagine a couple. A couple would have $120,000 that they leverage from their RRSPs for a home buyer's plan. And it's important to know that the withdrawals come to you tax-free, so there's no tax that is triggered, as would normally be the case when you withdraw from your RRSP, and as long as certain rules, of course, are abide by. And just to note, some locked-in RRSPs cannot be used. Example, some employer plans are not available for the first home, the home buyer's plan. And look at how it works. So you've built up your RSP bonds. Normally, you'd have to wait until retirement to access it. But if you're buying your first home, guess what? You can withdraw funds from it for your deposit. And you can repay those funds because it's required that you repay your home buyer's plan over 15 years. And repayments don't start until the second year after withdrawal. No interest is charged on that withdrawal. So it is a loan, but it's kind of like an interest-free loan. you do lose the interest that you could have earned on leaving the deposit there, but guess what? You have access to your home. So if you choose not to repay in a particular year, what happens is that that amount that you should have repaid just gets added to your income and then you pay taxes on it. So a comparison between the two, your first home savings account contributions in both are tax deductible. Withdrawals can be tax-free for your purchase of your first home. For the first home savings account, there's no repayment required, but for the RSP, there is. The lifetime limit on your first home savings account is 40K, and for the RSP, it's 60. So both allow that tax-free deductible when you contribute in that year. It grows tax-free and tax-free withdrawal depending on the purpose. But one thing that you must realize that these are not mutually exclusive. These are strategies that you could leverage together. So again, combining the power of both, look at the potential impact. An individual could save 40K in their first home savings account and withdraw up to 60,000 from their RRSPs. A couple combined, that's 200K, right? 200K, that's 20% on $1 million home, right? So do you see how you can build the deposit to create that access to your first home? So strategy is what matters when you're planning. So let's look at what a simple 5-year strategy could look like. So each year you contribute $8,000 to your first home savings account up to the lifetime limit of 40K. At the same time, you can make additional contributions to your RRSP. Both tools generate a valuable tax deduction. They actually reduce your taxes, triggering a potential refund at the end of the year. So what should you do with that refund? You reinvest it into these tools. So can you see how the snowball gets bigger and bigger when you use this strategy? When you're ready to buy, the first home withdrawal, again, tax-free, no repayment. The RSP, you can access through your home buyer's plan. The result, of course, is a larger down payment, which means lower mortgages and lower monthly payments. For high income earners, this is a valuable strategy. They could first contribute to their RRSP, which creates that tax refund. They can then reinvest that tax refund into their first home savings account, both going tax-free and both allowing access to purchase the home. By repeating this cycle each year, they create what I call a down payment snowball, right? Allowing them to build their savings much faster and at the same time lowering their tax bill. So we're just simply leveraging the tax code to benefit us and allowing us to purchase our homes faster. Another important feature, right? I know that individuals sometimes when they open a TFSA or a first home savings account, they open it at the bank that offers them no return on their money. So when choosing your first home savings account and your RSP, it is important to align your investments with your time horizon and your risk appetite. And one helpful concept, right, to kind of understand how quickly you can double your money is that rule of 72. It kind of gives you an idea by dividing the rate of return into the rule of 72, how quickly your money would double. And again, it's about having your money work for you. So at 6% rate of return, your money would double in about 12 years. So the takeaway, leverage your first home savings account, leverage your RRSPs for higher rates of return during that period of time. So again, you have more than the 200,000 available for your deposit and to get you into your first home. So choosing the right investment mix is important, and that is something that I can help you design based on your risk appetite, your goals, and your timelines. So let's look at the importance of where you park your money and the rate of return. So if you look at the diagram here, 40K at 5%, 5 years later is 46. At 10% it's 53, at 15% it's 62. So I'm hoping that shows you the power of where you park your money and the rate of return. So if you save $8,000 per year in your first home savings account for 5 years, you've reached your limit. But remember, the contributions are also tax deductible. At 30%, that's roughly you get $12,000 back over that 5-year period, which smart home buyers reinvest into the other tax-free vehicle. So basically, instead of having the 40K working for you, you have over 50K working for you by leveraging that refund as well. So I'm hoping seeing this is giving you some clarity, and it's also getting you excited about the steps that you can take, the disciplined action that you can take to get you into your first home sooner. Another important feature of the first home savings account is flexibility. If your plans change and you decide not to purchase a home, the funds can be transferred into your RRSP. And there's no tax penalty. But if you do withdraw it and not transfer it, then of course you'll trigger some taxes. So let's look at a scenario. You remember the case that we talked about whether to rent or buy, right? Mokshi highlighted some of the reasons why we should buy, right? Let's look at the numbers as to why we should buy. We're talking about long-term wealth difference between renting and owning. So imagine two people. One, of course, decides to pay rent and they're paying $2,500 monthly. The other decides to buy. Their costs are a bit higher, right? They're paying $3,150. So today, renting might look very attractive, but what about the long-term outcome? So over 25 years, the renter would have paid less, right? And we're excluding rental adjustments, we're excluding market fluctuations in this scenario. We're keeping it simple. But at the end of the 25 years, this renter, after paying $750,000, has no asset, right? They basically have to continue paying rent if they wanted to continue living in a home, right? The homeowner may have spent more in total payments, but eventually they own the home. That could be worth over $1 million depending on appreciation. And we've seen this. I bought my home in 2012, our first home. And guess what? Even with the market down right now, my home is basically doubled in value. And it's an old house, right? So this is why home ownership is often one of the most powerful wealth building tools available. So again, we're looking at the bigger picture. Why is buying a home important? We're building equity. We're forced savings. We're creating long-term wealth. We're creating an asset that appreciates and that is leverageable. Plus, we're making sure that our families have stability. So planning the down payment strategically can save years towards achieving that goal. So it's a multi-pronged process and a multi-beneficial solution or approach that you could potentially take. So I'm going to hand it back over to Mokshi, and she can add in some more details for you on the buying process as well.
Thank you, Cardeen. It was great information. And you know what, especially for the first home buyers, it's very important that they know that home ownership is possible, especially when you are starting out, because with the professional help from people like Cardeen and me and the mortgage specialist and the lawyers, your dream of home ownership can be possible. So as we just discussed, and as Cardeen was also mentioning, that the down payment planning is important, and these are some of the plans that she told you, RRSP and FHSA. So these are the strategies that you can use to save some money for your down payment. Then there are some other government programs, like the government will be giving you the rebate if you are a home buyer, first time home buyer, on closing. That is also helpful towards the registration of the property. Another thing that is very important is to reduce your debt. try to live within your means, because if you're looking to buy home, don't do any sudden purchases at the time when you're looking at homes. I always suggest that postpone your car buying or furniture buying or any vacation. These big expenses can really affect your home buying process, because once you take a bigger loan, then, like, even if it is, even the example, if you're buying a car which is going to cost you from 30 to $50,000, so you're going for that loan, so that is going to be added towards your expense when we are doing the credit check. And on the other hand, when you are buying the home, you're looking to buy 500,000, 500,000, 600,000 worth of home. So that is the bigger picture. So we should be focused first on that, and then the smaller things like vacations, car buying, furniture buying, or any other smaller expenses, we can postpone it for some time if you're really looking to buy the home first.
Yeah, it's all about priorities, right?
Right.
So,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
So that should be the top priority when you're
Mhm.
focusing on home buying. Then the down payment, reducing your debt, improving your credit score. So if you have missed out some payments on your credit card or any other payment that you've missed out, try to, or you've used your card more than. Cardeen was suggesting 30%, but I always suggest that don't go over 50%. So if you have used your credit card more than 50%, try to bring it down, just make the payments toward, because that's ultimately going to help improve your credit score, and which is very important. And then another aspect of home buying is obviously to work with the team. So we would need the professionals like Cardeen, who will be helping you with the down payment, financial guidance. And then we would need a mortgage advisor or a lender who can help you with the pre-approval of the loan and ultimately get the mortgage. As a real estate broker, I can always help you with searching the properties in your desired price range and location, because that is a priority. Then we would need a lawyer or an attorney to actually help you with the registration of the property and closing. And as I mentioned, that we would also need a home inspector who can actually, if we are buying a resale, always advisable to get the home inspection done, because they can tell you the status of the property, because we cannot see beyond the walls, but they have access and they can check with their equipment what is the status of the plumbing in the system, electrical appliances, roof, furnace. So these are the major expenses. So we want to make sure that they are in a good working order when you're buying the property. So I always like to help my clients with the move-in condition type of a property where they are just turning the key and moving in the house, not taking the problem of fixing everything when you move in. So that is not for the first-time home buyers. I don't advise that. It's always better to move into a property which is good for next 5 to 10 years. You're not actually incurring any expense when you're moving in. And another thing I would also recommend is to avoid some of the mistakes. So the first thing we started off with is waiting indefinitely. Like, I have met few people who have been renting for over 10 years, 15 years, and they're renting. They're not even thinking about home ownership. But as Kajin and me, we are really suggesting that this is such a good market at this time. It's a buyer's market. We have been getting almost every day so many messages from the emails from the builders. They are giving so many extra incentives beyond what the government is offering. So you get HST rebates, you get some special incentives. Sometimes the builder is even giving you free appliances. They are capping the development charges. These are very important. I know as a first time buyer, you don't know anything about these, but as a realtor for over 18 years, I can guide you through this process, that how to read the agreement, what should be included, what should we cap at, all these things we can guide you. And I would suggest that if you're really thinking seriously about home buying, you can always set up a time with us on one-on-one meeting with either me or with Cardeen. There is no pressure, but again, we will guide you through the process. So once you are aware of the process, it's much easier to make that decision. And another thing that I would also like to mention here is that home ownership cost is definitely a little more than the rental. But at the end, when you review it, you actually benefit with building the equity, getting those appreciation, the property, as Carding mentioned. When she bought her first property in maybe 2012, as she was mentioning, she must have bought the property like maybe 5, 600, 700. I'm not sure. I'm just giving an example. So, for example, she bought it for 600. Today, that same property is worth over a million. So she made that money, that appreciation, just because she had the home. She was the owner of that property. So that's another thing I always tell, because the properties are appreciating over the period of time. So this is another way you get a benefit. Another thing is that don't just start looking at homes without the pre-approval. My suggestion is always to get pre-approval, because then you know your limit, your budget, that I can only qualify for maybe say 600,000. So don't go look for the property which are 800,000 or a million, because obviously you're not getting any loan or any approval for that. So something is to consider before even starting your home buying journey, that sit with a realtor or a mortgage broker and budget yourself, get a pre-approval. And I always suggest that should always avoid overextending your budget. So if you know that your income for the year is 90,000 or 80,000, then don't over budget yourself, because then even the banks, and from our side also, we also suggest that don't go more than 35-40% of your income towards your home buying, because obviously you want to live, you have other expenses to take care of. So it's not that whatever you're earning is only going towards the mortgage. It should not be the same. It should not cross over 40% of what you make. So
And to
that way,
interject, and to
yeah.
interject there, Mokshi, that's something I help my clients with, right? Managing their spending, coming up with a plan to achieve their financial goals. So during that process, I'd look at your expenses, your income, and then we can craft a plan to see how you can fund your first home savings account, your RRSPs, your TFSAs, so that and hold you to that, right? Have you accountable, make sure it's a habit that you can maintain in order to achieve that goal.
And so, yeah, so well said, Cardeen. And that's what where me and Cardeen can help you. We can help you with education. We can help you with financial planning. We can guide you through the mortgage process. And that's what will really help you move towards the home buying. So, whenever you are ready, please feel free to reach out to us, and we will guide you the actionable next steps so that it can help you with your first time home buying and the other incentives that government have for you, any rebates. Even if we are buying from a builder, brand new homes, if you walk in a builder's office, sorry, they will, if you tell them that you're interested in a project, they would put at least 50 pages, 30 pages, big, huge agreement in front of you to sign. And you don't know what you are signing, because that's a legal document that you are signing. But if you are going through with a realtor along with you for that, even with the builder, if we are going coming with you, we make sure that those legal terms are reviewed by a lawyer before you sign those agreements. So it's always very important that you always have a professional on your side, because as a buyer, you don't actually pay any commission to your buyer's agent, because the commission is paid by the seller's agent. So it's always better to have a professional on your side who's supporting you through the whole process, but not even charging you. So my personal advice is always to have a mortgage specialist, a realtor, a financial advisor, and a lawyer on your side, because we're going to be helping you with the whole process of your first time home buying, and you will not regret it.
And we have some questions in the chat that we can touch on briefly. I see someone mentioned that they want to start building credit for their son. He's currently 17 years old, and you could start doing that when he becomes 18. Of course, if you get him a credit card, make sure you keep it and
So
not give it to
get
him.
them supplementary card. That's what we suggest. Get them supplementary card, yeah. So
Mhm.
they get to know how to use the credit card.
Yes, they have to build that discipline because managing your money, it's habits that you build, right? And it's stacking habits as well. You might not start out 100% savvy, but guess what? You start with learning one thing and then applying the next. I see that there's a question here that they spoke with two brokers and got two different numbers for pre-approval. Why is that? Different brokers might have different strategies. They have different connections with a bank or their various lenders. And it's always good to talk with multiple mortgage brokers to see who can get you your best deal, right? We shop around, right? It's part of the process.
Yes. And I would just add that because the variables for pre-approval, the mortgage approval would be your income and your down payment. So if your income is good, then you can even go ahead with 5%, 10%, 20 up to 20% down payment. But if your income is less, then obviously you have to put more money towards the down payment. So it's a variable. So that we can discuss when we sit 101, we explain you how it works.
Okay. And our contact information is on the screen. Feel free to reach out to us via phone, call, or messaging. We are happy to help you. And again, it's all starts with the first action, right? Whether it's a conversation with a realtor, a mortgage broker, or myself to get you some clarity as how you can achieve that goal and get to that goal faster. It's possible for anyone, right? It just takes a bit of planning.
Yes, and we are always available, so you can reach out to us. Our numbers are on the screen. Feel free to reach out. We are on the social media as well. You have our email address as well where you registered. So from our side, we are always available to provide you all the information, and best wishes to all the attendees who attended the session today. And we're looking forward to working with you.
Thank you so much for your time, and we'll stay on for maybe another minute or two just in case there are any other questions. If not, enjoy the rest of your day and have a lovely weekend.
Have a good one. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Any questions?
And another thing I would just like to add, if you're not ready right away, but if you want some information, please call us. We can put you on our email, and then any new projects coming up, something which can interest you, we can send it to you. Thank you.
Yeah. And one little tidbit of information regarding the first home savings account, you actually, even though you get 5 years to contribute that, well, actually, you have more than 5 years to contribute at $40,000. You have up to 15 years to use that account. Okay, so again, it's all about planning. It's all about taking that first step. If it's only $100 that you can put towards that first home savings account, do it, right? It triggers a refund. Plus, you can carry forward up to $8,000 of room to the next year. So the day that you start accumulating that room is the day that you open the account. So if you don't open the account, you have not yet started to accumulate that room. Okay, it's not like the TFSA in that regard. Okay, so
All right. Thank you
yeah,
for all the information. It was very helpful.
thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no questions, I'm going to end the call. Feel free to reach out if you have any concerns or want to take that action step.
Take care. Have a great day.